Welcome to the Tellabs Optical LAN training video, Resource Domains. The purpose of this video is to provide an introduction and instruction on the use of resource domains within the Tellabs Optical LAN EMS GUI. The topics covered in this video will be an overview of resource domains and how they operate, instructions on how to install the resource domains function in Panorama, instructions on how to create a resource domain and then implement it in the EMS. Resource domains allow the segregation of PON ports in the access network to specific resource domains that can only be managed by users that have the rights in those domains. Resources are controlled at the PON level. All ONTs on a given PON belong to the resource domain for that PON. Once they are created and assigned, users will only see resources that are assigned to their resource domain. Prior to using the resource domain function, make sure that a license key has been obtained and installed. The SSO function should be disabled, and the EMS admin user should be enabled. When installing the EMS, resource domains can be enabled by selecting a custom install and enabling the multiple tenant access control feature. If the EMS has already been installed, but the feature was not enabled during the install, it can be added manually. To manually enable this feature after updating the license, navigate to the folder Tellabs, Panorama PON, BBMGR, Server, Data, System Admin SS. Modify the file systemadmin.ss.properties. Change the domain access control property to true. After updating the property, restart the EMS server for the property to take effect. Modifications to the domains can only be performed by users with the domain admin role. Initially, only the EMS admin user has this capability. It should be noted that if single sign-on is to be enabled, it must be possible for the EMS admin user to log in via SSO so that at least one user is available with the domain admin role. When logged in as a user with domain admin role, the domain user item should no longer be grayed out, and domain configuration can be performed. Start a new domain by selecting the New button. Type in a domain name and description and click Apply to create a new domain. To add PON ports to a resource domain, select the domain in the top left window of the dialog. Then select the OLT. Use the list of PONs to check or uncheck PONs within the OLT to assign them to the domain. Green PONs are not assigned and are available for use in this domain. Red PONs are currently assigned to other domains. Blue PONs are currently assigned to this domain. Once all PON ports have been selected for the domain, click on Assign Resources at the bottom of the interface. Only users created after resource domains have been enabled will work properly with this feature. Existing users must be deleted and re-added to allow them to be used in a system with resource domains enabled. Create users as you would normally. Assign them to one or more domains. Then use the arrow button to assign domains for that user. A user can be assigned to manage multiple domains, but can only log into one domain at a time. When each user logs in, they will see an additional prompt defining which resource domain they wish to log into. After login, the user will work as normal, but will see only the OLTs with PONs which they can manage in that domain. PONs that are outside the domain will appear gray in the tree view. The EMS admin user can see all PONs and OLTs. If a user attempts to log into a resource domain which they do not have rights to manage, they will get an error on login and an error detail of user is not a member of this domain. The initial release of resource domains only isolates and restricts the hardware from being modified if it is not allowed for the domain. Profiles are still shared across the domains, and a modification of a profile in one domain can affect other domains. Care should be taken to name profiles so that there is no overlap or need to be managed by the EMS admin user to ensure that users do not inadvertently make changes. The OLT properties are also shared across domains. If an OLT is shared across two domains, care should be taken when modifying OLT properties. This concludes this video. In it, we have discussed an overview of resource domains and how they operate, instructions on how to install the resource domain's function in Panorama, instructions on how to create a resource domain, and then implement it in the EMS.